This video is the start of a series that we have been dreaming of for years. If you've been here for a long time, you know that we have had many different shops over the years and we've kind of just made work with what we had. Whether that be throwing some paint up, adding panels to walls, or even putting up walls to make our carport work. So today I am very excited to say that we are getting to build our very own shop on our own property how we want from the ground up. This project has truly been 8 years in the making, and I really just want us to step back and just take this moment in because this is wild and such a crazy milestone for us. A few months back, we took down 20 or so pine trees in this area, and Dylan has been carefully tending to this area and making the ground right so we could be ready to build when this time came. Today is a very exciting day because our pole barn kit for our new workshop is being delivered.
Well, we got all, well, I guess it's all. I think it's every bit of our materials to put up this pole barn, with the exception of concrete bags. All neatly stacked out of the way, hopefully out of the way. Think so? I think it's plenty out of the way. We also got tin over it, not because I really care about rain getting on it, because none of this really matters if it gets wet. What matters is we want to keep the sun off of it until we get to it. Got our metal trusses here. Got our 6x6x16s.
Those are some hefty things.
Hefty boys there. And then got a ton of 2x6s that are going to be our purlins. So we're just getting those tucked up out of the way, and they'll be here when we're ready for them.
How excited are you though?
Scale of 1 to 10?
Sure.
About a 5.
What?
Yeah, I'm mostly terrified.
Why?
My excitement is being overwhelmed by my terrifiedness of what's to come. This is the biggest project by far we've ever tried to tackle, and I'm going to be doing it mostly alone.
My bad.
Oh, Molly, I just realized we don't have any of the roof steel. We actually opted to not have them deliver that right now. I'm gonna wait and have that stuff delivered basically when we're ready for it, so that it's not sitting around, because roof steel stacked up will actually rust if water gets between the layers of it. So I wanted to wait and get that stuff fresh right when we're ready for it.
Smart.
I'm not really sure what this is. Ooh, that's a daggum banner. Shoot, wee buddy. Backwoods buildings, y'all.
My gosh, it's hot. It's an exciting day.
Today is a monumentous day for Molly and I, because behind us, this large clearing that we did probably 2-3 months ago is finally going to become the start of our dream shop. So in this week's video, we're going to be laying this shop out, hopefully getting some holes dug for post, and maybe even getting posts set depending on how this whole week goes. But by the end of this series, we are going to have a roof up and basically the beginnings of a workshop, and then it will progress from there with concrete slabs and walls and all sorts of stuff. But today is a huge day because we're finally starting a very large and ambitious project. We got about, what, maybe 10 weeks before this baby comes?
At the most.
And we got a lot to do, so it's time to get to work. So we can definitely come this way, keep walking me. This still leaves enough room here. Where you're at, fairly good. Mike could come to me some, but I think that corner should be right here.
Looks for me.
So to start with the layout of this building, the first thing we need to do is establish a line that matters, and in this instance, the line that matters is with the house. So we pulled the string line across here, right there, which basically establishes a line that is parallel to the house. Then we set our front corner here, and once that front corner is set where we want it, then all we're doing is pulling two tape measures, one perpendicular and one on a diagonal. You're gonna hold that line.
I'll just on the outside of this.
Yeah. And the intersection of those, using the Pythagorean theorem, tells us what the two measurements should be and where they should line up on the tape measures and meet each other. So in this instance, it was 30 feet that way and 56 feet 7¼ inches. I know. You match those two lines up and the diagonal should match. Do it the other way, you've got a square building. Hope that made some form of sense. Ow. Over there is gonna be our loads. All right, Pops and I got our batter boards set up. These little L shapes here, which are outside of our theoretical corners, are going to allow us to pull string lines in between all of them to make sure that these corners are accurate and everything's square, and then also the distance between them is what they're supposed to be, so that when we go to build this building, we're actually building it square and to the right size. Now, one thing you'll notice is that these are all a bunch of different heights, like compared to the ground. That's because these need to be all on the same plane, because if you're pulling a measurement on an angle and not level, then that angle will actually change the distance of the measurement, and so your building will actually be not the correct measurement. So back there in the back, our batter board is literally on the ground, which is not ideal, but up here in the front, it's 9 inches off the ground. That's because currently the grade isn't flat. We have a 9-inch drop from front to back over 48 feet. The vast majority of that 9-inch drop is actually halfway through the slab, and the reason we are not filling that in and making it level now is because we're building a pole barn, and it's really important that these poles are in undisturbed soil and that we're not putting them into questionable compacted soil or anything like that. We live in a hurricane area. It's really important that these are truly in undisturbed soil, so we will be adding backfill in after the posts are set in concrete and in, and making everything nice and flat. So we're gonna start pulling some string lines, making sure our measurements are right, and then we can mark for our post holes. Dang, we're an 1/8 inch there. All right, so we're 3/4 off there. So that means our problem is up here. All right, we successfully got all of our batter boards and string lines nice and square. It only took a couple of different times moving some things around to get it right, which is pretty good. And then we went ahead and marked where our corner posts are gonna be. We're not gonna mark where any of the other posts are yet. We're gonna go ahead and auger out these corner posts. We actually have to send photos off to our building department to get the holes pre-approved, and we only have to send a handful of them. So we'd rather just dig these corner posts out, send those photos off, get them approved so that we don't dig a bunch of holes that aren't approved, if that makes sense. And then once those are approved, we'll come in, we'll set our corner post, we'll have something nice and hard to pull string lines off of, and we'll do the rest of our holes in between there the same as the corners. So we're gonna drop the string lines, hook up the auger, start drilling holes. This week, Dabson sent out their DBS 1000 Pro and their DBS 2000B expansion battery. They are the sponsor of this week's video, and we're going to be putting this thing through the paces. As you can see, it is completely covered in mud because we've been using this thing to pour the concrete for our pole barn, which you'll see later in the video. Now there's a whole bunch of power stations on the market like these. I'm going to run quickly through the specs of this one, and then I'm going to tell you some of the things that this one has that I like, some of the others that we've tried out don't. The DBS 1000 Pro has an impressive 2000 watt output, as well as up to a 4000 watt surge in the power boost mode, and you do get a little bit more at 2400 watt output when you combine it with the expansion battery. You get really fast charging with this unit at 1200 watt AC input, which gives you 0 to 80% battery in just 60 minutes. These batteries have a 15-year lifespan, and they are expandable from 1 to 10 kilowatt hours of capacity. This unit is incredibly safe using AI technology for heat and low temperature protection, as well as overload and over discharge protection. It has a reinforced aluminum alloy structure. It has an app that you can control and monitor the battery at all times, as well as it comes with a 5-year extended warranty. Now here are the things that I think are pretty unique about this battery. First and foremost, it's pretty lightweight. The top unit here is only 34 pounds, which in the world of these batteries, that's pretty light. That's a one-handed carry, whereas a lot of them are pretty hefty. So that's pretty nice. It also comes with a built-in light, which was incredibly useful the other night when we were pouring concrete and we just needed a little bit of extra light. It's built right in. Another thing that really caught my attention on this, which may or may not be useful for you, but I think it's really cool, is that all of the AC ports are over here on the end, which makes it a lot more compact, because when you have a whole bunch of cables and stuff coming out of the front here and you're trying to look at the screen, there's just stuff all in the way. So this gets the big bulky AC inputs over here on the side and out of the way when you're plugging stuff in, which I think is a really great feature. Now you guys are going to see this battery in action for the rest of the video while we're pouring concrete, as well as in next week's video when we're pouring some more concrete using this thing. It did so well handling our concrete mixer as well as our concrete vibrator, and it used little to no battery life or capacity when we were using this thing. It's pretty insane how far this technology has come, and we want to give a big shout out to Dabson for supporting our channel and sponsoring this week's video. You can check the links in the description below and get all the extra tidbits of information and stuff about these units. And thanks again for sponsoring the video, Dabson. These things were put through the ultimate test, as you can see, and they survived. Well, we had no idea if this little bitty tractor would turn such a big auger, but at idle, no problems. So the little Kubota, a lot stronger than she looks. That's an 18-inch auger. We need 24-inch holes, so we're gonna have to dig a little bit out. This thing wallers around, so it's probably gonna be 22 inches diameter already. But the difference in price from a 18-inch auger to a 24-inch auger was like double or triple the price. So we went with the 18. Do a little bit of digging. And also wasn't able to rent one, if you're wondering. I wasn't able to rent any augers nearby where they would allow me to rent them without renting the entire implement for a skid steer, which was about $1,500 for a week or so. Not happening. This was $300 and we'll get to use it in the future. She's an 18-incher. Didn't wall her out much, maybe 19. But it seems like it's gonna be pretty easy. We still gotta go another 12-inch deeper than that. 12 inches deeper.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. Ah. First hole is dug, done. Got drainage rock in the bottom because engineer drawings called for drainage rock at the bottom. Answer this in the comments below if you know the answer. This hole is almost 4 feet deep. Oxygen stops around 12 inches into the soil. How does getting water away from the bottom of your post keep it from rotting if it requires oxygen to rot? Don't understand it. I don't understand the rock at the bottom of a post. If there's no oxygen at the bottom of the post, it can't rot anyway. If anything, you're creating a cavity to where oxygen might possibly be able to get to. Isn't that a valid question though? Thank you for the hug. Thank you very much.
Clocking out for the day?
Does my face look like it? 'Cause it feels like it looks like it. It's hotter today than it was when we built the fence.
That's saying a lot.
Saying a lot. Alright, I gotta send off these photos to the building department where they just say, okay, go ahead. And then that should be the last thing I have to do until the final inspection. It's really basically, ow, girls! Photos should be the last thing we have to do until the final inspection, unless we pour our concrete before the final inspection of the roof. I don't know. But regardless, now we're waiting. Maybe tomorrow we'll be able to set those posts, pour them in concrete. But I'm exhausted. I'm glad we're doing half-day work days because
it's way too hot.
Oh yeah, I'm about to die.
For anybody.
Y'all probably noticed a bunch of this Proven Hands merch in this video, and that's because Molly and I have started a brand called Proven Hands, and we're just testing out a whole bunch of different products, specifically shirts and merch and all that type of stuff. But the product that we're most excited about that we're actually going to be launching pretty soon is one that we are personally making, and that is this incredibly durable, incredibly high-end leather belt. Okay, made 100% in the USA from Latigo leather, sourced in the USA. Chicago solid brass buckles, sourced in the USA. Screws, and solid brass buckles made in the USA. Look at that right there, solid brass made in the US of A. And then of course we're making the belts ourselves. This is a product that I've been testing out for a while now. I've been testing out all the different parts and components. We've put a lot into this, and if you are interested in getting updates of when this stuff is coming out, you can go to provenhands.com or check the link in the description below. We greatly appreciate the support. This is a project of a passion project of Molly and I's, something that we've wanted to start for a very long time, and I don't know when it's all coming out, but we're working really hard to give you guys the absolute best, highest quality products as possible, all made 100% in the US of A, down to the packaging, of course.
It is day 2. Our post holes got approved last night, which is crazy, and thankful for that, so we can just keep on moving. Got my coffee. It is barely 6:30, so we're getting a really early morning head start for the day.
Well folks, it's day 2. We got our post in the ground. We got rebar drilled through the bottom so that helps us with our uplift. And now we've got to see how hard it's going to be to manhandle these 16-foot 6x6s that are soaking wet. So we got to get them lined up here in the corners, make sure they're nice and plumb and on our lines, which is way harder than it sounds, and then get it all braced off. We're going to do basically this side first, and then move to that side, making sure that our measurements stay what they're supposed to be. So let's get into it. Alright, we've got concrete being delivered in the background. Dad and I got the first 2 posts set. It's time to pull a measurement, see if these 2 posts are 48 feet apart from each other. That's the length of our building. If so, then we're good to keep going. If not, we need to make adjustments. I'm gonna clip this onto my belt because y'all missed out on me dropping this into the hole, which was extremely hard to get out. All right, he's burning a foot, which means it should be actually 49 feet. You gonna come over here, Molly? I think we're gonna be real close. Ready? You go, Pops? Woo! Whee! That's about as good as it gets right there. So the outside dimensions of this building are 30 feet. We've got two 6x6s, but the outside dimensions don't matter that much. What matters more is the inside dimensions between the posts, because they have to be the right size for the trusses we got. So they're supposed to be 11 inches less than 30 feet. Now that's 5.5, 5.5 added together. However, these posts happen to be an eighth of an inch wider than normal. So they're gonna be combined 1/4 of an inch less space. Hope that makes sense. So we're adjusting now on this side to make sure that our post spacing on the inside of the post is correct and not the post spacing on the outside, because all that really matters is that our trusses fit. All right, so we were 3/8 off on our lines that we pulled yesterday because we were 1/8 off originally. We knew that. And then we were 1/4 inch off because our posts are 1/8 inch bigger each. So we're gonna move this string line over, and that should now make our truss inside of our post widths match our truss widths. So this need to be 30 in an inch. You're burning in a foot. Pops, we are dead nuts. I'd say we're within a 64th.
Which way do you need to go?
It needs to come this way, 64th. Alright, let's see if we can be 2 for 2. Really 4 for 4, honestly. We're dead nuts. You want to run down there and we'll just check this measurement?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean exact. That went about 4 trillion times better than I ever could have imagined. I think we got real lucky somehow, or we're just
That
a lot
good?
better than we give ourselves credit for. Check this bad boy out. We're gonna be using this portable power station today from Dabson to power our mud mixer, because, well, we have enough hoses to get water out here, but we don't have enough extension cords to get out here. And let's try this thing out, because we have a special project coming up where we're going to need the combination of these two with little to no power, and it's going to be handy. So we'll see what she can do. She's only got 68%. Let's get it hooked up and start pouring some concrete. Let me address the elephant in the room while Pop was getting some more concrete. Why in the world would we do this with bagged concrete and not have a truck come in here and fill these up? It's for really 2 reasons. First of all, we really wanted to do the corner post first, and we didn't want to have every post set and then have to manage all the posts all at once while concrete was being poured, and run the risk of having the truck accidentally hit or pour too much too fast and move the post. It's very hard to control that, and then you're having to jump around and try and do that over 10 posts. That's problem number one. Problem number two is that it's not that much concrete for a concrete truck. So they charge you a fee for using basically a small portion of their load capacity. It's called a short load. And so it's actually about the same price or cheaper, and we get to do it on our own pace by doing it this way. That's why we're doing it like this. First hole did not go to plan at all. We were using a leftover pallet of concrete that we've had for probably close to a month now. And it turns out that concrete was starting to set up on the outside, so it had a hard shell. And the mud mixer hates clumps. So you really want to use fresh concrete when you're using the mud mixer. So we ended up having to hand mix a lot of it in the hole, and that was really annoying. We got about halfway filled up before we had to do that. Ended up getting 17 or 18 bags in the hole, which is a ton of concrete. And now hopefully with some fresh concrete that just got delivered today, this next hole is going to go a lot smoother.
It's not a fun one, is it?
Bro, we got her done though. 4 posts in the ground, concrete in the hole. We just did the math off camera, and Pops and I each moved a little over 5,000 pounds of concrete today. Kind of regret not doing the truck, not gonna lie, but I'm way too cheap for that, because it's quite a bit more money for us to do 2 short loads of concrete than it is to just do this. Gotta learn the hard way sometimes, but it's also been kind of convenient because we're just getting to do it at our pace, even though it's a snail's pace.
Yep.
We're getting to do 1 post at a time, watch the post, make sure it's not moving, all those sorts of things. So big thanks to Pops, because that's a lot of work for an old man.
What you think?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's gonna be a big building.
Yeah.
Gonna be real tall. Might cut it down more than we had originally thought, because that looks extremely tall.
We'll have to think on that.
I have to think on that.
Think on that one.
Oh yeah. Well guys, as you can see, there's a lot more posts in the ground, but you're gonna have to wait until next week to see that. We're again trying to get caught up on videos here before this baby comes, get a little bit ahead, and well, we might succeed at that, we might not. Anyway, thanks so much Dabson for sponsoring this week's video. If you guys haven't subscribed already, be sure to do that so you don't miss out next week's video. See you in the next one. Peace.